Good morning. This morning I want to go over a topic with you that a lot of people don't know about auctions. They think you may be buying one car, you may be buying cars cheap. And you do sometimes buy cars cheap, but that is a huge myth. It has really not that much to do with the cars being cheap as much as it does auction attendance. That's what drives the price of the car up. The condition of the car is very important. So whether you get a good car or a bad car, or a good buy or a bad buy from an auction, strictly, it's all, how am I say, it's specific to that auction, that day, that time, how many people are in the lane. Has a lot to do with it. So when you're going to an auction, one of the things that I try to look for is if you're looking for a very popular car or truck, whatever that may be, and trucks in particular in our area are very expensive. So there's no such thing as a cheap, good truck at an auction, because every dealer out there knows, again, and I'm being specific to our area, that trucks are always in high demand, and the only ones that wind up at auction really are the trucks that they know they can get as much as at that for that truck at an auction a lot of times as they can retailing the vehicle. So it's all depends on attendance at the auction. So that's one thing you want to watch out for. If you see a lane that's not got a lot of action in it, that is going to have your best buys in it. If you see a lane that's got a lot of action in it, you can rest assured that vehicle is not going at a traditional, what you would think, auction price. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, are cars that much cheaper? No, as a matter of fact, I just got a comment from a YouTube fan out there, subscriber out there. I like to buy Jeeps. Most of you know that I like to buy Jeeps. And when I buy these Jeeps, I'm a prospect on a Jeep going through an auction from $500 basically to about $2,000 is where I top out on my Jeeps, because they're Grand Cherokees. Most of them are 2004 back. So I always look for Jeeps, and they're not in real high demand when they're going through the auction. And so I typically get those Jeeps cheap, but I wind up paying $1,000 to $1,200. But I had a subscriber tell me the other day that he bought 2004 with a lot less miles on them than what I pay, and he paid $550 for that vehicle. Well, that gentleman, if I was in his area, would have an immediate $500 profit off of me. I would give him $500 more than he paid for the vehicle, maybe even more than that, because if it's a 2004, which what he described it being with 120,000 miles, and I think, I'm not really sure, but I think he was in Florida somewhere, 2004 with 120,000 miles, in this area here, a clean Jeep, I mean, that Jeep's going to bring in our market around $2,000, $2,500 if it's a full-time four-wheel drive. He claims he bought it for $550. So obviously, maybe his market is softer. Maybe his idea of a nice Jeep versus my idea of a nice Jeep are two different things. But I can tell you, and I have these so-called gurus on YouTube that's they actually tell me that the market does not vary from one area to another, which is absolute bullshit. Any idiot knows that northern cars do not bring the kind of money that southern cars have. There's salt conditions, rust conditions. People up north, they live that way. They don't give a shit about rust, or maybe they do. I don't know, but I know we do in the South. We don't want all that salt and rust and shit on our vehicles here. So definitely, the market, your place in the market, has a lot to do with the value of the car. In Florida, I don't know the market there. I've bought some cars in Florida. I bought some cars in the north and had them shipped to the south. But the main thing that I want you to know is that when people think in auction terms, the auction terms really don't have anything to do with the price. Do you buy cheaper at auctions? That's debatable. Sometimes I've paid a lot more for auctions than at auctions that I thought the vehicle should bring from an individual. And I do know that a lot of people pay a lot more for cars at auction. Now, the main thing at auction is you have a huge selection and you have other bidders going on. So, yeah, you might not have bidders on that car and you be able to pick up that car at a very, very cheap price. But it's all going to be depending on the attendance at that auction. So make no mistake that sometimes you do luck up on some great deals at auctions. Sometimes you walk away from a lane scratching your head.